to show you how the radar in conjunction with situational awareness and all that in the F-15 works. I'm sitting here on the ramp in the F-15. Overlord just took off. You can see him there in the distance.
Overlord 1-1.
I've got a good plane filled up, armed, ready to go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to request takeoff. Request takeoff.
Overlord 1-1. Bra 284 450 F 20,000 29.88.
And you'll note that I'm using a program called Voice Attack. I use it for just a handful of commands. It is extremely useful, especially in air-to-air refueling. It's relatively inexpensive. It's like $12 to $15 US, so I don't know, $40, $50 Canadian, who knows. Anyway, I highly recommend it. It's useful as hell. But as you can see, I swerve around some in the F-15 as well. It's I don't know if it's me or what, but it's the only plane I have that problem with it. It seems to wander around some. Alright, gear up, flaps up. I'm going to accelerate to 300 knots. Obviously the F-15 can go a lot faster than that, but 300 knots is a good speed to fly at in civil airspace. At 300 knots, passing through 1,000 feet, left-hand bank, 30 degrees. And we know the targets are out over the water, so we're turning that way. And once we're on that bearing, a general bearing of where we know the bogies are, we'll fire up the radar. Okay, we'll roll out of the turn. Radar on. Switching to track while scan mode, pumping up the range, see what we see. As you can see by watching the carrot bounce up and down, I'm on a 4-bar scan mode. 4-bar gives you the largest picture of the sky, but it's also the slowest. But we're not in any threat or immediate danger, so we're just looking for contacts, and there's our first one. It's flying at 20,000 miles, just off to the left of our nose. So I'm going to go fence in, turn off my lights. Reduce the range a little bit. Oh, too much. Go to BVR mode and lock them up. And you can see them there off to the left. A few things about the symbology. If you look at the contact, it kind of looks like an arrow. You got the feathers in the back and the shaft sticking out the front. The direction the shaft is pointing is the direction of travel of the plane. If you look on the HUD, you see that W. That's your more or less your horizon line. That dotted circle is the missile launch cube, but we'll get to that later. And you can see that arm sticking up, sticking to the left. That also shows you the direction of travel. To the right, you can see our altimeter passing through 9,000 feet. Just inside of that is another scale. See 80, 40 is dropping down. 80 is 80 miles, 40 is 40 miles. Our target is currently at 40 miles. And for the life of me at the moment, I cannot remember what that counting down number means. It'll probably come to me later. But anyway, you can see we're getting closer to the target. So right now my radar is hot. I have that guy locked. So his radar warning receiver is screaming at him. He knows the enemy fighter has him locked up. If you're trying to stay stealthy somewhat, don't lock up the radar. Stay in a passive mode or radar off. You see overlords up there calling out the contacts, so you can vector yourself in the vicinity while staying dark but keeping your radar off and just popping on when you actually need it. But this is a more or less training / familiarization flight, so we're doing Hollywood style and just full tilt. So we're just waiting until we close range to the target. And forgive me for looking around a lot. I know since I'm using VR, kind of disconcerting because you'll constantly see the screen moving, but yeah, it's mounted on my head, and you know, it's pretty out. I like to look around. Right. Our target is at 20,000 feet, so we're looking to match his altitude. I'm probably going to climb a little above him. And now if you look at the down the bottom of the radar screen, AN-26 is what our target is. That's a not troop transport, that's a cargo plane. You said M22 or 215 seconds or 21 seconds. That's how long it would take for my missile to get there if I fired it right now. It's at 18 seconds.
Enfield 1-1, Overlord 1-1, Bra 244, 419 at 28,000 knots.
AMRAAMs are a very fast missile. Now at the bottom of the scale, you see those two lines just up on the bottom? That's the launch permission range. Once that ticker gets down to the top line, they're within range, and then the second tick mark is they're within ideal range. So we're going to wait till they're within ideal range.
Enfield 1-1, Overlord 1-1, Bra
You will notice the window's getting larger and larger. The launch permission lights just came on, so we're going to go ahead and fire. Fox 3. Missile away. Now I said Fox 3. Fox 3 is for a semi-active radar homing missile. That's what the AMRAAM is. I've got them locked up, so it's taking directional cues from my radar. Now I could unlock them and fight other aircraft, and once the AMRAAM goes what's called pit bull, so when it's within terminal range, it's got its own radar that'll kick in and proceed to target. It's not 100% fire and forget. It's good to keep them locked up for a little while, because if if you break the lock, the missile will continue to fly towards its last known position before going pit bull, and if you maneuver it out of that, you'll miss. So it's not a bad idea to keep them locked up as long as possible. But as you saw, that AN-26 is going down, and it's as simple as that. You know, that's all it takes to engage. There's the chutes. Poor guys. And that's all it takes to find a target and engage it. Doesn't matter what kind of missile you're using, F-15. As I said, I'm using the AMRAAMs with the Sparrows, the AIM-7s, who works exactly the same way, just got a shorter range. And the Sparrows aren't as fast. You'll see them loft up above the plane, but they're equally effective. The Sparrows are a Fox 1, meaning active radar guided, so you have to keep them locked the whole time, all the way until impact, or you will miss. So anyway, that's it for that. I'm going to go ahead and find the tanker and do a little refuel to keep this video short. It won't be that interesting seeing me shoot down several planes. So I'm switching to navigation mode. I'm going to contact the tanker. Request refuel. Request refuel. Request refuel. I'm getting a error buzz.
Enfield 1-1, Arco 1-1, proceed to pre-contact at 25,000 at 230.
So he's at 25,000 feet, doing 230 knots. Let's pump up the radar, see if we can find him. I'm thinking he's off to the right. And I've seen from past experiences that the take-hand does not work correctly when trying to track in the tanker with this thing. The F-15 uses what's called easy radio. You can't tune the take-hand, so it's a little more room for error. I'm going to take a little gentle turn to the right, see if I can find him. I'm thinking he's off in that direction. And I'm going to remain in the vicinity of 25,000 feet. While I'm looking, I'm probably going to edit out the remainder of this until we get close to the tanker, just so you're not waiting on me. So, see you then. as you can see, I was right. He was to the south of us. Now that I locked him up, see the range, 59 miles. Now, once again, since he's locked, his radar warning receiver would be screening at him right now. But also, you can see there's an X in the middle of that box. That tells you it's a friendly target. When you're looking at your radar, I'll unlock them. So you can see it's a dot as opposed to that square. That square is an enemy, or a rectangle rather, is an enemy target. The circle is a friendly. And now I will definitely fast forward. Alright, now that we're approaching the tanker, I'm going to talk about a few words, or give a few words about joining up with the tanker. Having a successful intercept is part science, part art, and a little bit of voodoo thrown in on it.
Overlord,
Right now we have a pretty easy approach for a beam to them, so we can keep our speed up and just slide in behind them. It's a lot harder when you're going in opposite directions. You really got to judge it. For me, depending on the aircraft and relative speeds, I'll stay about 5 miles a beam of them off to their left or right, and between 5 and 8 miles I'll do a gentle left-hand turn. Ideally, I'll intercept. I'll come right in behind them as we're both heading in the same direction. It's a real pretty thing when that happens. With the F-15, it uses a boom type system for refueling. I'll go to external view. You see that logo, that black circle right in the screen? That's your refueling. You have to open it up to refuel. On the back of the KC-135, he's got a probe. It's called a boom. It hangs down the bottom of the plane. And what you need to do is center your plane underneath the tanker and slide into position. I'll explain that better once we get a little closer. Also, when you get close to the plane, DCS now models wake turbulence. As the plane goes through an air, it creates turbulent air. You don't want to be at the same altitude as the plane you're behind, or you're running into that turbulence. So as you see, we're sliding in behind them. I'm going a bit fast, so I'm cutting throttle. I'm probably going to have to hit my air brake. Well, maybe not. I like to close at about 30 knots faster than the plane. That way you're not waiting forever. It doesn't take you, a long time to catch up to them, but you don't go blowing past them either. And now you can see the bottom of that boom hanging down there. Actually, I might have to hit my air brake a little bit. This F-15 is faster than my usual ride. It's a little slipperier. My Harrier slows down a lot quicker. So anyway, we're going to slide up behind them. We've already requested permission to fuel. So now what you have to get fuel is you have to tell them that you're in position. And your radio call is ready pre-contact. If in the F10 menu, that's what you'll see. You hit F10, navigate to it. Fortunately, I have voice attack, so I don't have to play with the F10 menu. Hopefully it works this time. It didn't work on the initial call. So let's get a little closer. Basically, you have to be saddled up right behind them, because if not, look, ready pre-contact. Ready pre-contact.
Return pre-contact?
So he'll tell you return pre-contact. I'm not in position. However, if I get closer, got a little shaky there playing with the F10 menu. Ready pre-contact. Ready pre-contact.
Cleared contact?
He gives you clear contact. What I do is I point my plane like I'm trying to touch the nose on the end of that boom. See that? It's just below the W. So I'm going to keep easing forward until I'm, looking to touch the nose of that, and you will see the boom veer off to my left. At least it should any second. And it's going to be aim itself. There it goes, for my refueling tank. Now up above you see two light strips. I can never really make out the right one, but the left one is your height, or I should say distance vertically from the tanker. You want to be in the middle spot.
Enfield
And about this position
Overlord
right here.
1-1. Bra.
Give him a few seconds and he'll hook up.
470 at 35,000 knots.
Oops, I forgot to open the damn door. There we go.
Contact.
And there we are. We're sitting here taking fuel.
You're taking
The
fuel.
boom is kind of a pain. I like the drogue system better, but the boom transmits faster and doesn't require as precise a flying. You know, the drogue, or the boom rather, will go right in the refueling port, whereas the drogue, you gotta chase it. And you see my light came back on, that means I lost connection. I got a little too far forward. You back off and he'll reconnect.
Contact.
And there we go. And that's all
Return
there.
free contact.
Damn it.
Contact.
Gotta stop talking and start flying.
You're taking fuel.
And that's all there is to it. So, that's it for the video. If you have any questions, give me a call. If not, we'll talk to you later, bro. Take care.